Thank you for joining us. This is the first of our GFDA board orientation sessions. We're going to be doing these every Wednesday through the quarter at 4 o'clock. We're going to keep them fairly short. This one might be a little bit longer because we have our largest team within a team at GFDA is our business development team. I want to thank our business development team members for joining us today. And if you could wave as I introduce you, Jolene Schalper is our Senior Vice President and is in charge of the business development team. She's also in charge of all of our client relationship management. She oversees our CRM, we use Salesforce, and really looks at are we putting the right effort, adding the right value to the right businesses that are in our CRM. And then are we balancing servicing existing clients as well as going out and targeting new businesses and connecting with existing businesses? Shannon Clancy. Shannon is half-time on business development. Shannon is also one of our procurement technical assistance center advisors, and we'll be talking about that later in the month. But Shannon handles all of our databases and works with a number of member organizations that she'll tell you about to identify targets that we should go after. Christian Leinhauser. Christian is our downtown business development officer and works with existing businesses downtown, real estate developers, and targets companies to invest in downtown Great Falls. Tyler Manzalez. Tyler is our marketing guru. He takes care of our website, our social media, videos, materials, and is also a small business development center advisor and all aspects of our marketing. A lot of content marketing. So when you've been seeing the announcement of the week, live FaceTime announcements and things like that, the Lumen 5 videos we've been doing, that is all Tyler's work. Nathan Reif. Nathan is our business retention and expansion specialist. For the last year, he has been loaned or financed or paid for through our Small Business Development Center special COVID response program. But Nathan really specializes in reaching out to existing businesses, seeing what we can do to help them overcome a challenge or to take advantage of an opportunity, and brings those companies into the team. And our newest business development team member, Rustin Lippincott. This is Rustin's second week. He joins us as a business development officer and will be doing business retention expansion, business attraction, as well as marketing our SBA 504 loan product that we do nationwide, statewide. Thinking ahead there. First, I want to ask a question, Jolene. Why do we do business development?
You know, business development is about adding the right clients at the right time to our pipeline. It's about adding value to the businesses that either are looking to come to our area or exist in our area, or entrepreneurs that have an idea. The business development team works to make sure that those businesses get linked into the resources that will help them. In a nutshell.
Walk through a typical process. Nathan, you'll do an outreach visit to an existing business. Tell us a little bit about that, and then what may be the result of that.
So usually I schedule half an hour to an hour with a business just to find out what they're doing, what they're seeing in the climate, you know, what their needs are, tell them a little bit about what we do. And then depending on what comes of that, I kind of turn around and hand them off to, sometimes it's our advising team, sometimes it's our government procurement, sometimes it's our loans. So it just kind of varies depending on what comes out of that visit, but I try to make sure that they're connected in with the right people. And sometimes it's not to our team, it's to somebody at the city or at the county or at the state or another resource that we have a relationship with, so that we can kind of build those relationships with between the businesses and what they need.
Tyler, you've been doing content marketing for us. What kind of strategies do you use to bring attention to the Great Falls market?
Yeah, so I mean, we love to, our motto is kind of success attracts success. And so what we do is we take the success stories of the clients who have interacted with GFDA in some way, shape, or form. Oftentimes they've interacted with all facets of what we offer. And so we look to tell their success story, how we added value to what they're doing, and how we might be able to add value to someone who is yet to interact with us. And so that happens in a variety of ways: written content, success stories, the video content like Brett mentioned, and yeah, just trying to get the word out there in whatever way we can.
Jolene, tell us a little bit about the lead generation work that we do.
So we've identified areas that we have competitive advantage for workforce or for raw materials. Some of those are in agriculture processing. Some of those are in back-end office operations. Some are in high-end steel fabrication. Those are areas that we have a skilled workforce based upon current successes. And so we've identified businesses and we've partnered with Development Counselors International for this last year to identify businesses that are potentially expanding in those areas. And then what in this one aspect, then what we'll do is we continue to try to make sure that they're seeing us on their LinkedIn, that they're hearing from us in newsletters, that they are getting postcards from us and phone calls. Now, our lead development strategy is further than that, though. We have made sure that we're part of the industries and associations that those companies are part of, and we try to attend their events when they have them in person. We read their newsletters and try to make sure that we have the most current information for that industry, and especially for then those specific types of businesses, so that then we share that with companies that we're trying to develop these long-term relationships with, so that when they're looking to open another location, they immediately think of us.
Christian, I know you've been putting together target lists and reaching out to developers and companies to consider investing in downtown. How does that work? What's a typical visit with a target?
Yeah, so I kind of look at the targets in different sectors. So, our residential developers to do upper level residential development. We look at who's expanding with, that businesses that might fit downtown for, high wage jobs, high tech jobs, things like that. So once we identify who's doing what, and especially in this region, I figure out the easiest way to connect with them. LinkedIn has been pretty successful to connect with people, finding their information online and just reaching out to, I go straight for the CEO and say, hi, this is who I am and this is what we're doing in downtown Great Falls. Everybody I've been able to connect with has been super positive. I haven't had any issues with any developers, and even now it's getting to the point where I'm getting people calling me, which is great, because that means our website's working. People are looking to get into downtown Great Falls, and they're Googling downtown Great Falls development. Our page is coming up. So yeah, and then just even some of the targets that we've had, being able to get them here and sit down with them is really beneficial too, because it seems a lot easier to do the face-to-face talks, and instead of phones or Zoom. It just seems very, it's much more personable being able to meet with them, in person. So, yeah, it's the target outreach is going really well.
Shannon, I know temporarily we have taken you off the database work. We're helping out the state Department of Commerce by loaning Shannon to them to provide technical assistance to businesses statewide who need a SAMS or a DUN registration to get ready for some new SBA programs. But Shannon, when you were doing some database work, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So my role is really to ensure that our databases, such as Constant Contact and Salesforce, are kept really up to date. We're trying to reach as many people as possible, so those e-blasts that Tyler sends out through our Constant Contact program can reach as many people as possible. Being hungry to grow Great Falls region, it's hugely important to have all that most recent updated information. The other thing that we are really strongly reaching out to our association partners as well. Having those strong relationships with them and also helps us get the word out on our mission and being able to reach everyone that they can extend to as well. So that is the primary goal of keeping those databases up to date.
So Rustin, you've only been with us a week and a half, but what are your first impressions of our business development team?
I was just really excited for what they're doing, and frankly, just Great Falls has got a lot going, and to hear all of the projects that GFDA has been involved in, and I'm excited. I'm ready to hit the ground running. But hats off to the team. I mean, it's a small team doing a lot of the reaches all across Great Falls and the Golden Triangle. I'm quietly amazed coming from Iowa and not knowing how things happened in Great Falls, to see the catalyst that is this team. Is just, I'm excited to be part of it. That's really what it's about.
Well, I'll open it up for if you'd like to ask questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can ask away. We're very informal, just like our board meetings.
I guess a question for everybody, and that is, are there particular things that you are doing in your area that you are finding that are particularly successful in producing results?
Great question.
So yeah, Mark, the business retention expansion visits that Nathan was talking about is something that we do downtown too. And those visits, I think, are extremely important, because we're always finding out who's doing what. Like I was on one today, and being able to find out the needs of the businesses, and then being able to connect them with the resources or the people, like Nathan said, whatever they need. But it really shows, I think, the business owners that we do care about them, and then also helping them get to their goal of expansion, or if it's trying to find more talent, things like that. But yeah, that's what I've seen is very successful.
Mark, I think that in the key to our success in every aspect is those building strong relationships. And I just see that time and time again, whether it's with site selectors, whether it's with developers, whether it's with entrepreneurs, whether it's with the city and county staff. And so we are much more effective when we're paying attention and being very intentional about building strong relationships, learning and listening. Listen 90% of the time, talk 10% of the time is a very true adage. And so that's just the deeper that we can strengthen relationships in every aspect of business development, the more successful we are. And we're seeing that time and time again for relationships we put years into cultivating.
I would say, Mark, from my experience, there's two things. One is targeting. Fish where you can find the fish that you can land. No sense talking with companies that it might be wishful thinking, but if somebody's looking for 5,000 people or whatever, it's not going to work. The other is just persistence. It's the old-fashioned shoe leather that we're a low volume business, so we may do outreach to 100 existing businesses. Typically, we get many more active clients from existing business outreach because many of them have opportunities to grow or they have challenges. On the business attraction side, it's just persistence and networking within those industry sectors that we've been targeting. Nathan, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. Just being able to listen to businesses and then being knowledgeable enough and having the relationships to be able to hand them off, which is what I've appreciated. I've only been here a year and a half. So there's a lot of times where I'm like, where I can turn to the team and say, who do I connect them with? How do I connect them? And so the BREs are important because they build relationships, but my ability to come back as a team and discuss those and move projects forward in a way that really adds value to the client, I think continues those relationships as well. And I feel like that effectiveness of being able to kind of just take that team approach and hand it off to whoever's best at it, I think is adds a lot of value because it's like, okay, well, this person's really good at this. Let's let them do it. I handed off a client to Rich, because he had done 3 or 4 of them and I could just hand it off and say, hey, can you run with this? And that kind of BRE outreach, but knowing that there's good resources that I can trust and hand off to is I think really adds a ton of value.
Are there any particular challenges in your area that you think hold you back?
I mean, time and energy. I guess, there's so many businesses out there that reaching out to all of them, especially to reach out to them with the care and energy that we want to bring to a business, take some time and energy, to do the research, to know who they are going in. Some of that's fast, but some of that, just takes some time and energy to, and there's just so many businesses out there. And then just knowledge of who's out there. I think that's always a challenge because there are businesses that, despite everybody here that has so much experience, we don't know about, or we don't know what they're doing, or we don't, we just can't know it all. And so, anything that sometimes is those, I guess, are the biggest challenges I see.
It's actually, Mark, I think been really satisfying this last year. There is a steep learning curve when we bring on new staff, but it wasn't too long ago that our business development team was what time I could devote to it and Jolene. And in the last couple of years, we've been able to start doing things that we knew we should have been doing. When you're spending all of your time servicing your existing clients, trying to help them move their projects forward, what happens is that the business attraction outreach, the lead generation falls away, and the outreach to existing businesses falls away. And the other thing that happens with that Nathan was getting at is that if you've got a circle of businesses that you stay in touch with, but there's a whole group of other businesses, some of which may have the highest potential for growth, and you're not constantly reaching out to them. I always like to go into a coffee house or a bar or a Starbucks or whatever, and anybody that's got a laptop out, ask them, well, what do you do? Because there's companies that, or people working here for companies that we're still not aware of.
Yeah, and actually, that's what I was going to say is that I think the biggest challenge that I see that we have is reaching the right people with the right message at the right time, right? It's finding, you only know what you know is such a true adage. But it's frustrating because I want to know more about all the variety of gig workers that are in our community. But I want, Tyler, what do you think our biggest challenge is?
Yeah, I was going to hop in here. We've talked about this idea of outreach and reaching out to businesses. From my perspective, we're trying to get people to reach in. And in doing that, or in order to do that, it's creating this culture of sharing. And so we want people to be talking about, these newest projects and what's going on in downtown Great Falls. Again, to reiterate that success attracts success motto, but also just to get folks to realize that a lot of these projects would look different, or perhaps wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't have received some sort of pivotal assistance at a pivotal point in the project. And so we try to tell that story, but I mean, really, if a business owner is talking to a trusted friend or colleague and saying, I'm not sure we can get this off the ground, or this isn't looking how it looked originally, and we're just not sure we can proceed with it. We want that person that they're talking to have the knowledge that that we're here and we can help them in some way, shape, or form. And so, just getting them to reach out that way in the event that we have not reached out to them already.
I've found a marked change just in the last year and a half with Tyler's content marketing that's trying to put valuable content out there. I call it the sugar water that's drawing people in. And that gets shared. I mean, it gets posted on LinkedIn, and then it gets shared and shared and shared. And with what Nathan's been doing with the outreach to existing businesses, what Christian's been doing in the downtown, and what Shannon's been doing on the increasing our databases, so we're just not talking to the same people all the time. Before we end it, I did want to give Jolene an opportunity to talk a little bit about what you've been doing in managing our team's pipeline to increase our productivity.
Sure. So we use our CRM as Salesforce. And so that's how we can visually track our projects. And we track every company that we work with, whether it's a small business development center client, a procurement technical assistant client, or a target or a lead through our services. And so we have hundreds of projects and companies that we are tracking. And as you can imagine, that becomes really challenging to make sure that we're spending the right amount of attention on the right clients. It's very easy when they say the squeaky wheel gets all the grease. I'm just full of adages today, but that is such a true statement, right? Because you can have a client that is not a job creator, is not growing our tax base, that might be a really cool person and a great person, and they call and call and call and call and call and eat up a lot of your time. Time is the most valuable commodity that we have, especially in our work. And so I've been working on ensuring that we're focusing our time on the low-hanging fruit to have big wins, but also the hard projects that aren't going to make it without our assistance. And sometimes that means that we need to juggle other clients, or that we need to not take appointments from some clients in order to take appointments from others. But we'd like to prioritize our pipeline of work, and it is based upon this metrics that Brett put together with some Drucker. It's a hybrid, a Doney-Drucker matrix is what we call it, but it's based on Drucker. And really it looks at Is this project a high mission, and is this a high financial win for our organization? Because those are the two balancing acts that we have to walk, right? We need to hit our mission of high wage job growth and of economic diversification and increased tax base, but we also have to be able to fund our work. And so we try to look for the clients that are in that A quadrant, that are the highest financial and mission reward, and spend our time with those clients. And then with the Bs are the next circle out. But if there's a client that's not going to have a high mission or financial reward, that's very low priority for us. And it can get difficult to try to prioritize those. So when we're in our weekly pipeline meeting, we talk about where clients are ranked, well, where do you think that's ranked? And if and there's things that can change that ranking, but we're trying to really focus our team on those higher value projects. And so that's something that is a continual push pull and just a continual process.
We do have a passionate team, so
Yeah.
we do talk about the prioritization quite a bit. And it has nothing to do with size, really. It has to do with, is this going to really relate to our mission and structurally change our economy? So it could be a one-person business that has the potential to triple in size to 3 people. One example I like to use is that if it's the only coffee shop in a rural town and it's at risk of closing, that's really important to that town. We may put more resources into that than if it was the 38th coffee shop in Great Falls. We are trying to improve our market competitiveness, both for talent and for more business investment. So we really have to focus in on what's going to make an impact, because after all, our mission is not to provide service, it's to structurally change the economy. Well, any last questions, comments?
Thank you for all your work. Really do appreciate it.
I'm really proud of this business development team. And the most important thing I'm proud of is that they drive themselves. So they're out there pounding away at it every day. They don't need somebody over their shoulder to make sure they're putting the effort in.
I guess I'll just I'll speak for the board, although I'm not probably, I haven't been approved to do so, but I would say that we're all very proud and grateful for the work that you all do. And we're looking for ways and methods and strategies to help you be more successful and therefore to help us be successful. So I think these orientations are really good. I hope that our board takes advantage of these things, but at least that's my vision of what the board should be there to do, is to help you. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Well, thank you, everyone. I said we'd keep these to a half hour. We are recording them, so we're going to throw them up on the website so board members and investors and interested parties can listen to them at their leisure. So every Wednesday this quarter, unless we run out of things to talk about, same login every time, 4 o'clock on Wednesdays.